Hi, this is Alex Skolnick. Welcome to my Rock House program. I want to thank the guys at Rock House for making this possible. This is my very first instructional program, something I've wanted to do for a long time. And today we're going to be talking about jazz guitar. Jazz guitar can be a little bit intimidating at first. There's a lot of concepts involved. This will not be a complete jazz guitar course. Indeed, I don't think there is such thing as a complete jazz course. But this is going to be everything you need to get started. In fact, this is going to be the program I wish I had when I was starting out with jazz guitar. I hope you have fun with it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun making it. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'd like to talk about is the blues. The blues is a link between rock and jazz. The blues is the source of much music that we've heard. A lot of people are familiar with the blues as a genre of music. It's also a form, and a lot of us have heard of the 12-bar blues. We're going to be looking at that a lot. The thing is, when you play rock and roll, you often encounter the blues in the form of a vamp. Many of us have played riffs like this. Or this. That's all well and good, but that's only part of the picture. We're going to be talking about dominant seventh chords. The dominant seventh chords really capture the flavor of the blues. So if I was playing an A blues like this, I could play this chord, and it's really going to bring out the flavor. So in the upcoming lessons, we're really going to focus on the dominant seventh chords and how to bring out the sounds of those chords. And this way, you'll be on your way to playing jazz. Before we get further into playing, I want to talk to you a little bit about keys. As guitar players, most of us that have been playing for a while are familiar with keys such as E and A and D. Think about it. How many songs do we know that start out like this? Or this? Those are the open keys of the guitar. Jazz is a little different. Jazz is a horn player's world. We just live in it. Horn players play in keys like B flat, E flat, F, and C. These are like the open keys for those instruments. Some of you may have tinkered around on piano. Maybe you play a little bit of piano, and you can think of C as the open key. So we have to get used to the idea that E and A and so forth are no longer our main keys. For these lessons, we're going to be looking at B flat as the main key. I recommend that you transpose everything that we do into other keys, including the ones that you're familiar with, like A and E. Ultimately, you should transpose everything into all 12 keys. But for these lessons, we're going to be looking at B flat. Get used to it. Are you ready to get started? Me too. First thing we're going to do is tune the guitar. We're going to start with the low string, the E, and we're tuned to standard 440. The best way to tune is with an electronic tuner. If you don't have one, you can go to the website and download one. I'm going to play the strings for you right now, starting with the 6th string. Now here's the A, or 5th string. D, or 4th string. G, or third string, second B string, and E, first string. That's it. Let's get started. All right, let's get started with some playing. So I mentioned that the first thing we're going to look at is the blues. And many of you are familiar with the blues vamp as it appears in blues-based rock. If I was to play a blues vamp in B flat, our new key, it might be like this. And if I was to play that with another guitar player, the other guitar player could play something like this. And what is that? That's a dominant seventh chord. We call dominant seventh chords 7 chords. So when I refer to that chord, that's a B flat 7. So all of this is the root, the seventh, and the third. Okay, I'm skipping the 5th string. So it sounds like this. When I go to the next chord, E flat 7, I'm taking these top notes and I'm moving them down a half step. And now I'm changing the fingering so that I can get the root for E flat, and that chord sounds like this. So now we have the root, and what was the 7 and the third has inverted. So now it's the 3rd and the 7th of E flat. Our next chord is F7, so you just move that up 2 frets. Okay? Now these are very basic chords, but they work and they sound good. There's a lot more that can be learned with chords, which we can look at another time. But one thing that's going to happen here is the anticipation. Each chord is being approached from a half step away. And that's an approach that's also going to show up when we start looking at melodic lines and solos. So for now, watch how I play each of these chords and anticipate each one from a half step below. And this is a very basic blues form. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm keeping a bass groove with my thumb and the pick. Okay, when I play this with a band, I don't need to keep that bass groove. I can just let the chords ring. Okay, so to hear what that sounds like, let's listen to me playing this with the band. Now it's time to play some music with the band. Everything we play is available at the website, so feel free to download it and practice along with it. Please welcome Matt Zabrowski, Nathan Peck, and we're going to start with the slow blues. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've been looking at a very basic blues, B flat 7 to E flat 7 to F7, played as a slow groove. Now we're going to speed it up a little bit, and we're going to take the first steps towards turning it into more jazz-based music. First thing I'm going to do is take the chord, our root chord, the B flat 7, and instead of picking it and strumming it like I was, I'm going to use my thumb and my fingers. Okay? Now you see how that gives us a little bit of a punchy sound. I hit the chord, and then my left hand lifts up from the fingers. So it creates a muting effect, similar to a muting effect for rock rhythms, except here it's done with the left hand. Okay? When I go to the E flat 7, same thing happens. Same with the F7. Now this is a basic groove. When you listen to jazz albums, you're going to hear much more complex variations of this played by professional jazz musicians. But this is a start, and this is a good groove to play over, and we're going to look at a lot of lines that happen over this groove as well. When I put all the chords together in the context of the groove, I'm going to hit each chord on the downbeat, which is the 1 of each measure, and then the 2 and. So that creates this pulse. Bop, 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 bop. Okay? So you got to feel that. And I'm going to apply that to every chord of every measure. Okay, so watch what happens when I play through the whole 12-bar blues progression using this rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Notice how the fact that I'm not strumming gives it a totally different feel. And that's something you're going to have to do more and more of as time goes on. And I mentioned that I was using my thumb and my fingers. There are players that might use the pick and the fingers and play it like this. Some players strum with their thumbs. There's a lot of different techniques, but the strumming that you're used to with, in rock, which is with the pick, that's very rare in jazz. You hear it once in a while as a texture, but usually the thumb and fingers or the pick and fingers is the main way to play jazz accompaniment. Jazz accompaniment is referred to as comping, so when you hear the word comping, you'll know what that means. Let's hear what this rhythm sounds like with the band. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Welcome back. Did you learn the rhythm in the last section? Just like when you're learning rock, you should always learn the rhythm before you learn the lead. The same applies here. Let's get into lead playing. And if you haven't gotten that rhythm down yet, stop now, go back, and learn the rhythm. Okay, the first pattern we're going to look at is a minor third into a major third. Now this is a concept that's going to rear its head later on, known as chromaticism, but more on that later. So the chord tones are this, and my highest chord tone, my melody note, is this D, right? So I'm going to approach that from a half step below. All right, now that note is technically outside the scale. It's technically a wrong note, but by resolving it, it actually sounds right. And it also sounds very bluesy. So I'm going from that note into the third, into the root, into the seventh. Now, you hear how bluesy that sounds? Now I move that to the E flat on the next set of strings. That sounds like this. Right? So even though I was playing the chord here, these are still the chord tones. They're just played an octave higher. And then the F is played here. Okay, so that's our F7 line, our E flat 7 line, and our B flat 7 line. Okay, so these lines really bring out the sound of the chord. And it's not that you can't use blues licks that you already know. You may think of blues licks as, and that's all cool too, but that's just pentatonic. Here we're really bringing out the chord tones. And in jazz, that's what's important. You bring out the tones, you play the changes. So now we're going to look at the blues, but really concentrate on the changes. So let me play these lines together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, when I play over the turnaround, I'm actually dropping the last note because there the chords start to go by kind of quickly. So I'm just going. Okay, let's hear what this sounds like with a backing track. Okay, so you hear how the lines really bring out the sounds of the chords. The next step is to practice this with the band. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're looking at the blues in B flat. And one of the techniques I've used to really remember the sound of the changes in a blues is the concept of major to minor. We've all heard songs where you have a melody, which is something like ba, 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 ba. You know, think of songs like bum, 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 bum. That change happening there is the major third switching to the minor third. Although if you look at the minor third from the root of the chord, it's actually the seventh. We talked a little bit about that earlier. What I have now is a couple different licks that help bring out these changes. The lick that we're going to start with is up on this octave, an octave higher than the previous lesson. And we're sliding into the major third. Okay? So what this enables me to do is stay in one position and play the chord change. In the previous lesson, we were following the chords by moving one pattern. Here, we stay in the position and we lower the major third to the minor third. Okay, so over B flat 7, we're emphasizing this note. Right? That's the major third. And then we're lowering it to this note, which is the minor third, or you can think of this as the 7th of E flat. Now, when we go to the F7 chord, we're going to change things completely, but still staying in the same position. Here's the F7 chord. Okay, now we're going to start on C, right? That's a chord tone. That's a 5th of F7. Even though we're not playing that in the voicing, that's still an important chord tone. You can hear it, right? So we're approaching the major third of F7 from a half step below and ending on the root. When I play those together, it's like this. Okay? Gives you a nice little map of the blues changes. We're going to play this over the slow blues rhythm that we started with, just so you can get a feel for it. And in the next lesson, we're going to speed it up and play it over the blues shuffle rhythm. Right now, let's hear what it sounds like over the slow blues. Okay, you hear how that pattern really helps bring out the sound of the blues? And it does it all in one position. Keep working on this. And now let's bring in Matt and Nathan. It's your turn to play it with the band. 1, 2, 3. All right, in the last lesson, we looked at using the concept of the major third to the minor third to capture the sound of the blues changes. We did that over slow blues. What I'd like to do right now is play over a shuffle, more like a jazz groove. And we're actually going to remove one of the notes from the pattern. We're also going to play it an octave lower. So what we had before was this. Okay, now we're going to lower that an octave. Only we're going to drop this last note because our timing is more like this. 2, 3, 4. So the rhythm is going to be ba, ba, ba. And we're going to take that through the changes, but using the same concept of the major third lowering to the minor third. So the lick over B flat 7 is going to be this. The lick over E flat 7 is going to be this. Okay, the lick over F7. And each time we're just sliding into that major third. Notice that the F lick forms this shape. That's called a triad. More on that later. For now, let's try these patterns with the rhythm. Okay, hope you're enjoying it so far. I know I am. We're starting to move to a new level now. That last turnaround is an example of quick chord changes, right? We had this pattern. Okay, and that's some really quick motion. You're going to see a lot more of fast-moving chord changes as you move on and study jazz. You should never go for too advanced a level from where you're at. You should always try to master the lesson that we're on before moving on to the next lesson. If you're having any trouble following along, there is tab. So do consult with the tab and make sure that you're comfortable before moving forward. For now, let's have you play this with the band. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to work on triads. In the last lesson, we talked about triads briefly. We had this pattern, and I mentioned that there's a shape here, which is that of a triad. Now I'd like to talk about triads more in depth. What is a triad? A triad is a root, third, and fifth of a chord. When I play the B-flat 7 chord, I have a root, which is B flat, the third, which is D, and the fifth, which is F. Okay, it's a very familiar sound. And the third is in the chord. In this particular voicing that we've used so far, we don't have the fifth, but it doesn't matter. We have the option to use it. But for now, we're going to use it as part of our melody. The triad is a really good guide for mapping out chord changes. This can be done with any song at all levels, but we're going to do this with the blues as we've been looking at so far. So for B-flat 7, here's our triad. For E-flat 7, this is the triad. And for F7, it's this. Okay? This is very similar to the earlier lessons where we followed the chord changes. We're going to be doing the same thing now, following the chord changes, but with triads. So right now I'm going to play each triad ascending. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that has a little bit of the groove of the rhythm. I can also play them descending. Can also do variations. Throughout this program, I'm going to encourage you to do variations. What if we start the first one ascending and do the second one descending? Okay? You can do these variations as we're playing over the blues. Let's play this with the rhythm right now. Descending. Alternating. All right, So now it's your turn to play it with Matt and Nathan. Let's bring in the guys. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. In the last lesson, we looked at triads, and we followed the changes of blues using triads. Now I'd like to do the same thing, but I want to sneak in some additional notes that are going to give it some bluesy flavor. The first lick I want to look at is basically a triad, just like we did in the last lesson, only with the minor third thrown in. So take a B-flat triad, just like we had, B-flat major triad, and then throw in the minor third. Okay? Now we have a nice little blues flavor for that, which you can follow through the changes. E flat and F. Okay, now that's the ascending version. Now when you descend, this is where it gets interesting. You can still approach the major third with the minor third before it. So that becomes this. Okay, so that retains the bluesy flavor. You don't want to play this. Okay, that just doesn't resolve in the right way. So it's, for each chord, it's this. Okay, ascending, descending. The second variation we're going to look at is also triad-based, only now we're going to add some notes from outside the triad. The sixth is a note from the scale, which adds some nice color when playing a blues line. Here's what it sounds like if I play the sixth and I go into the minor third to major third pattern that we looked at. Okay, so you notice how that follows the triad. Now, before we move this through the changes, I want to briefly talk about the picking here. This presents an opportunity to pick a few different ways. I could pick down and alternate, but that might not be the best for locking into the groove. What I like to do with a lick like this is to do a little bit of a sweep. I could pull off the first note as well. But for now, I'm just going to pick it. But watch how I pick and go into the next string. Okay, now when I move it to E flat, I get this. Now here's F. Okay. Now for our third lick, we're actually going to change the rhythm. We're going to start on a different part of the beat. So far, we've always started on the downbeat. And what I'd like to do now is to try starting on the and of 4. Okay, so the lick is going to start with the minor third. Right? Now these three notes are very similar to the lick we looked at earlier, this. Okay, the thing is, now we're going to add the fifth. Okay, and this gives us a nice chance to use that sweep picking that we were just talking about. And watch what happens when I start this on the and of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now it has a completely different feel. All right, now if I move that to the E flat, I have 3 adjacent strings. So I really get this sweep pick. Okay? I'm not going to play this. You know, I don't want the notes to ring into each other, but I do want there to be this flow. And notice how my third finger covers the strings, but moves as I'm playing the lick. Okay, same thing happens when I go up a whole step to F. Now I'd like to try all these licks and hear what they sound like over the rhythm. All right, so now it's your turn to play it with Matt and Nathan. Let's bring in the guys. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, we're continuing our studies of blues, and we talked about how the blues is a form of music in jazz. It gets more and more complex, and we're not going to look at the most complex versions of blues in this program, but we are going to spice things up a notch and add some additional changes to the blues. So far, we've been looking at 3 chords: B flat 7, E flat 7, and F7. For this lesson, we're going to continue with those 3 chords, only we're going to throw in a twist. The second bar is going to go to the E flat 7, and then it's going to go back again. So this gives you a chance to sneak in your E flat 7 licks, whether it's the patterns that we've looked at, which follow E flat 7, or the major to minor patterns that we looked at an earlier lesson. If I play the rhythm and I go to the bar 2, the 4 chord, E flat 7, I get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. the rest of the progression is going to be the same. But when you play over this, it gives you an additional challenge because you've got to grab that change that kind of sneaks up on you right away. I'm going to play along with the rhythm right now. And notice how when that chord comes, I sneak it in, and then I get right back to my B flat 7 lick. All right, so now it's your turn to play it with Matt and Nathan. Let's bring in the guys. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, before we expand the blues even further, let's talk about what we've done so far. We've looked at the 4 chord and the 5 chord, and our root is the 1 chord. Okay, now what does it mean when I describe these chords with numbers? All it really means is that these numbers are scale degrees. Okay, so if I look at the scale, which in this case is this, each note is corresponding to a chord, right? So the first note is corresponding to this chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. This note corresponds to this chord, and the 5 corresponds to F7. Very simple. 1, 4, and 5. In the next lesson, we're going to go to another level, and we're going to look at some of the other degrees. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on the degrees. So degrees of a scale are just the numbers of the scale, 1 through 7. So when you start hearing progressions referred to as 1, 4, 5, 2, 5, 1, 1, 6, 2, 5, that's what that means. Okay, now it's time to take the blues to a new level. We've already looked at sneaking in the 4 chord, or the E flat, in bar 2. But now we're going to give the blues a new turnaround. This is going to be the 1, 6, 2, 5 turnaround. Okay, so after we go to the 4 chord in the middle of the blues for 2 measures, we're going to go back to B flat, and then we're going to sneak in this new chord. And what is that? Well, that's a G7. So that is just a dominant 7th from the 6th degree, right? Remember I talked about scale degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Now the 6 is often played as a minor chord, but in the case of the blues, we're actually playing it as a dominant 7th, and it resolves to the 2 chord, which is a minor 7. Okay, so this is C minor 7 is the 2. which creates a cadence going to the 5, F7, and then back to the 1, B flat 7. Okay, so when these chords are played together, this is what you get. Okay, now watch how this fits in the blues. So I'm going to play the blues form, 12-bar blues, starting at the top. Only at the end, we're going to sneak in the 1-6-2-5 turnaround. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was our 4 chord, bar 2. Okay, here comes the 6. Now 2, 5, now all of them. Okay, one more time. 4 chord. Okay, here comes the 6. 2, 5. 1, 6, 2, 5. Okay, now that you know what these chords sound like, in the next lesson, we're going to challenge you to solo over these chord changes. 1, 2, 3. Now it's time to solo over the 1-6-2-5 progression. This is going to be a little bit different than what we've looked at so far. So go slow, and I want to explain how it relates to some of the previous concepts. So the chords are going to go by pretty quick, right? We have the B flat 7, the G7, C minor 7, and F7. The pattern I'm going to start with is just the triad, basic triad for each chord. So for B flat 7, it's this. G7, it's this. C minor, and F. Okay, and then right afterwards, it's going to turn into a 2-bar phrase, right? When the chords go by in a series of 2 bars. Okay, so there we have to be pretty quick. That becomes this. Again, there's a lot of variations you could do. You can ascend and descend and alternate. For now, we're just going to look at ascending. The other lick that I want to do, remember this blues lick. Okay, we're going to take that and run that through the changes. So over B flat, The lick is just like we played it before. Minor third into major third, into root 7. But over G7, we get this. Okay, same concept, just different position. Over C minor 7, we're approaching the minor third from a half step below, only this note is a scale tone. So it's not from outside the scale, but it's still a chromatic note because it's right next to the target note. Right? And then F7, minor third, major third, root 7. So those together sound like this. Okay, and when we play them quickly over the 2-bar phrase, it's going to be like this. Okay, so remember to consult the tab on this and take it slowly, because it is a bit of a challenge. Let's hear what it sounds like with rhythm. Okay, so these are good patterns to memorize. And when you're actually playing jazz, when you're actually with other musicians or doing a gig, you're not going to play licks exactly the same every time. But these are really good ideas just to have in the back of your head. And they'll really help you map out the chord progressions. And they'll make it much easier for you to improvise. Let's hear what this sounds like with the band. 1, 2, 3, 4. You having fun so far? I know I am. We've been breaking down the blues as it relates to jazz, and we've reached to the point where it's time to look at jazz beyond the blues. We're going to start with the progression that we left off on, the 1-6-2-5. When we did the 1-6-2-5 in the context of a blues, our one chord was B flat 7. Well, now we're going to do the same thing, except the one chord is going to be a B flat major 7. Okay, the other chords are going to be the same. But we're going to play our G7 over here. We're going to play our C minor 7 here. And we're going to play our F7 here. Okay? Same voicings, different positions. Now, the reason I want to discuss this progression is because it's a very important progression in jazz. It's also important in other forms of music as well. You've probably heard a lot of songs with this progression, whether you know it or not. Let me play it a little bit, see if it rings any bells. can you think of any melodies that would work over this progression? How about this? Bum, 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 bum. Ba da ba da 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 ba da da. How about this? Ba da ba 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 da. Or how about this? Ba 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 da ba ba da da. I could go on, and I'm not trying to show off my vocal skills or anything, but that last tune that I sang is called "I've Got Rhythm," and by George Gershwin. And for this tune was a very influential song, and in jazz, you refer to the 1-6-2-5 as rhythm changes based on that tune. So there's a whole series of licks and patterns that we're going to look at in order to get more comfortable with this position. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.